Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 133rd episode. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you so much for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly makes all the difference. Please follow me at Zen Sams. Remember, that's Zen with an X, not a Z, X-E-N. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen streamed 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV platform. That's free programming to you. And you can always find us, of course, on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. We have a great show lined up for you today. A big shout out again to our newest sponsors, Once Upon a Coconut and CO2 Lift. In our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring Emilie Fritz Veoloso, a serial entrepreneur, supermama, and co-founder of O.N.E Coconut. Now, after graduating at Georgetown University, she started her career as a communications consultant in the beauty and healthcare industries right here in New York and London. And upon earning her MBA, she launched her first venture as co-founder of O.N.E Coconut Water, which was sold to PepsiCo in late 2012. Now, more recently, she's the former CEO of Sacred Spaces in Miami, which is a spiritually aligned wellness destination community. Today, she's going to join me to chat career, health and wellness, and how coconut water has always played a major role in shaping her success and, of course, her life. In our Music Madness segment, brought to you by OGPay.com, we're chatting with the insanely talented Julia Vroom. At just 13 years old, she's the youngest competitor on this season's 24 of The Voice. She was on Team Niall Horan's team. Now she's joining me in studio right here at iHeart headquarters, chatting being 13, her music career, and what it's like being a contestant of season 24's The Voice. And in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift, we're joined by our returning contributor, beauty expert, and industry trailblazer, Lana Kerr. She's the founder of CO2 Lift and Lumisk Skincare. And in light of breast cancer awareness, we have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Sylvia Rodenberg, a cosmetic and reconstructive plastic surgeon in South Florida, Miami, chatting breast cancer awareness, prevention, and women's health. Stay tuned for our Hydration with Heart segment featuring the amazing, the incredible Emilie Fritz Veoloso. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring Emilie Fritz Veoloso. She's a serial entrepreneur, supermama, and co-founder of O.N.E Coconut. After graduating Georgetown University, Emily started her career as a communications consultant in the beauty and healthcare industries here in New York and London. And upon earning her MBA in 2005 from Pepperdine University, she launched her first venture as co-founder and president of O.N.E Coconut Water, which was sold to PepsiCo in late 2012. Now, more recently, Emily, who's also the former CEO of the Sacred Space in Miami, and for those of you who have not heard of it, the Sacred Space in Miami is a spiritually aligned wellness destination community for seekers of all kinds to gather, connect, and elevate in mind, body, and spirit. Currently, she has entered on a new chapter as founder and CEO of the O.N.E Tribe, a service to the mother on her journey to pregnancy and beyond. It's an integrative, expert-led community offering education, movement, and wellness for mamas in digital and physical spaces. Their first location opened in Miami, and they're expanding outward. She joins me today to chat career, health and wellness, and how coconut water has always played a major role in shaping her life. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Emilie Fritz Veoloso. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you. Thank you, Zen. I'm happy to be here.
So excited to chat with her. So you have had a very diverse career, from communications consulting to entrepreneurship. Can you share some key lessons or experiences that have shaped your journey? You're an advisor to also Once Upon a Coconut. Talk to me.
Gosh, that's a great question. I mean, when I think of my entrepreneurial journey, I think the most important is really passion and conviction in what you're doing. Like when I look back at where it started, I mean, this is 2005 when we launched One Coconut Water. I knew what the coconut water category was going to become. And then you just lead with passion, conviction, and determination. And I think other things on an entrepreneurial journey, one thing I always tell people is everything takes twice as long. But if you think something's going to take a year, it's going to take 2. It costs twice as much and take twice as long. The other thing that stands out when thinking of kind of the journey of starting a company, founding it, taking it all the way to sale, is the team. The team is the single most important, because it's bringing people together and getting everybody involved in a shared vision, a shared mission, and everybody doing their little part, because everybody comes with different talents. Like I always say, I am excellent at nothing. I'm really good at a lot of things. And you find those team members and you put them, like their special, their talent, their expertise, and you lead them to something bigger than themselves.
Well, that's the difference between a leader and a boss, and you are a leader, and I love that about you. Now, I love coconut water because, okay, so it's truly proprietary. We could talk about its taste. We could talk about the health benefits. The health benefits are key for me, right? Potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Those are all electrolytes. They play important roles in helping maintain heart health, liver and kidney health, and digestive functions. And of course, healthy blood sugar levels, muscle and nerve function, and just so much more. I always tell the story that I started drinking coconut water after I was battling with thyroid disease and having undergone radioactive iodine treatment. I was always looking to hydrate, right? So that was, for me, it was key. Now, One Coconut Water was a significant success, eventually being acquired by PepsiCo. What inspired you to start Coconut Water Company, and what were some of the challenges you faced in building it?
Going back, so I actually co-founded it with my husband at the time. We met in an international business plan competition for MBA students, where we were competing against each other, and he presented the business plan for One Coconut Water, and he'll always say he fell in love with me. I was like, I fell in love with his business plan. And it was such an interesting time, because at the time, coconut water was just being packaged and sold for the first time ever, starting in Brazil. And the reason was because the packaging before, coconut water has been around for millennia. There's water in coconut water. So it was just so obvious that now that it could be packaged and not, and shelf stable for some time, that it was just going to be a success. And that is exactly what happened. When I look back at the greatest challenges, it was really fun. I found it fun to be introducing coconut water to buyers all over the country. And they'd be like, coconut milk, coconut what? I don't understand what this is. And we'd go through all the health benefits and all the reasons. And it was really interesting launching a beverage business that we didn't fit into one category. We fit into every category. We were in produce, we were in juice, we were in water, we were in sports drinks. There was coconut water runs through all of them. So the industry had a little bit of time categorizing us. It's so funny. I remember a few years later when I'd walk in to a store and they'd have an entire aisle of coconut water. And I was like, see, it deserved its own category altogether. So really, it was that, but that was probably one of the biggest challenges, was introducing it and getting people to understand what it was.
Now, how do you think the health and wellness industry has evolved since your days at One Coconut Water, and what trends do you see shaping its future?
That's a great question. I mean, it only continues to grow, and there's not going to be a slowdown to that, and that's backed by everything from science to consumer, needs and choices. And I think what I get inspired by is really seeing this, kind of the rising generations, Gen Z, millennials, et cetera, just really making choices based on their health and wellness. They prioritize themselves, they prioritize their health and wellness. So that's where I just see the continued growth, on and on.
And why do you think Once Upon a Coconut, coming full circle now, you are an advisor to this incredible new brand that is taking the beverage industry by storm?
Yeah.
But Once Upon a Coconut has taken off very quickly and successfully, and it has all these VIPs and celebrities,
Yeah.
majors like yourself endorsing the product. Why do you think this is the case?
That's a great question. I think what's really unique about the brand is I think their brand, their branding, their packaging, everything, their taste. They have, it's a fantastic product. It's one ingredient, or the main original. And I think also what really is unique about the company is that it is their mission to be given back. That founding team is very, very passionate and authentic. They give back about 10% of all proceeds to different charities, and they align them with things that are personal to them. And that's where I think it stands out. And I also think just the founding team is pretty, forward driving, very, again, conviction. They are fighting for it. They're working hard for it, and they're going to make it happen. And that's why I joined the advisory board. I just sort of saw that from the start.
Without a doubt, and that's why I became their brand ambassador and have them on as our platinum sponsors, because when you look at the philanthropic work that John Girando does and the amazing contributions to so many charities, his willingness to always be a leader and an example and a mentor in the community, it's incredibly important. Ray Burbage is just salt of the earth, right? It's roll up my sleeves, let's get the work done. And then you have the most creative of creative souls. Mark and Alan are just so good at what they do, and also hardworking and humble. So back to your point,
I totally agree. I could have said that. Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself.
Yeah. So big shout out to the team. Now, you described the Sacred Space Miami when you were working there, when you founded it, and when you were CEO, as a spiritually aligned wellness destination. And now you're coming full circle and you are the founder of the One Tribe.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the vision behind it all and the role it plays in today's wellness landscape, making the evolution from wellness to now catering to mothers on this incredible journey?
Yes. Well, so yes, my career has definitely taken a journey. I've always been in wellness. I've always been passionate, mostly about educating people about wellness, whatever that looks like, whatever, from coconut water. I always tell you, everybody should be drinking coconut water from pre-birth to old age. It's just, what's your need? What's your ailment? It is the source. So, and that continues to where I am today. Then it, went to being the CEO, helping the founder really grow the Sacred Space in Miami, and, really giving people the opportunity to inviting them in ways to find their inner self. So we had healers, educators, so many different platforms that we brought there to really bring people in to touch their own inner selves. And then I transitioned out. I actually left the Sacred Space to found this other company that has been an idea in my heart and soul and mind for over 10 years. And it was one that could never die, which was really about bringing women together in pregnancy. It's a very, very unique time in a woman's life, in a family, and like a woman and her partner's life. And I just think something that it was part of my journey is that it's amazing. You're here, you're in this journey, and you then can feel so isolated as your life is changing. And so really at the base of what we're doing at One Tribe is creating a community for women during this one of the most life-changing experiences of your life.
What an incredible idea that you have come up with. Now you are, the One Tribe is located in Miami, but you do plan on expanding. So that's something that we should definitely be looking out for.
Yes.
You could head to the onetribe.com to look for all the latest locations, of course. Now, as a mother and entrepreneur, you have a lot going on. How do you balance your career and family? And are there any strategies or principles that have helped you navigate the balancing act?
Oh, that's such a good question and an eternal one. But so some things that I are important to me is balance. It is balance, balance, balance. You have to have it. You have to have community, and you have to have a support system. Whatever that looks like. One thing that's always been really important to me is self-care. So it's sort of the idea of, you've got to, putting on the air mask, before, helping yourself before you can take care of others. And I just think that's important. And so things that I do, I every year I take a hiking trip where it's my personal, it's called the ashram in California is my safe haven, my touchstone every single year. I always make time for it because it's a personal reset. And I come back more mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually grounded. And then it allows me to do everything else that I can do. And then you find that in daily routines and through meditation. I'm a big walker. I will walk everywhere. If I have a problem and I need it solved, I'm like, leave everything at home and just walk until that answer comes. And so I think it's taking moments for yourself to find that, to really be able to do everything else that you do, which is so much, which is a lot.
So much. And those are great pieces of advice. And finally, we have about a minute left. For those that are looking to incorporate coconut water into their daily routines, do you have any tips or recommendations for selecting the best quality coconut water?
Well, as I said, I always say everybody from pre-birth to old age should be drinking coconut water. Obviously I can't recommend, Once Upon a Coconut, I think is fantastic. I think from the branding, the mission of the company.
And that's the only one we recommend.
But really, when it comes to drinking coconut water, one thing that people don't know about coconuts is they're like apples. There are a lot of different types of apples. There's green, there's red, there's pink. And it's the same with coconuts, which is why you might be more attracted to one taste than another. I would just say the most important thing is finding a brand that it is one, especially with the original, with the plain, is that it's one ingredient, not filled with sugars. Take it naturally. I personally love coconuts from Brazil, so I go back to the originals. But I think it's just finding the one that you like and incorporating it into your life.
Well, you said it best. These coconuts, they come from Vietnam, and they are so, so tasty.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. You are incredible.
Oh, thank you. You too. I've loved meeting you and getting to know you.
That was the amazing Emilie Fritz Veoloso. You definitely have to check her out on the1tribe.com, or you could head directly on the gram and you could find her at the.one.tribe. That was our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. Now, you have to understand that I love the Once Upon a Coconut cans because guess what? They're BPA free, and that's a big stickler for me. BPA can seep into food or beverages from containers that are made with it, and exposure to it is a huge concern because it has a lot of health effects on the brain and prostate gland, especially of fetuses, infants, and children, and it can also affect children's behavior. So mamas out there, make sure you're giving your kids beverages that come in BPA-free cans. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Music Madness segment, brought to you by ogpay.com, we're chatting with the insanely talented Julia Room. At just 13 years old, she's the youngest competitor on this season's 24 of The Voice, currently on Team Niall Horan. She's performed in both off-Broadway play and regional plays. Julia is New York City-based, affording her the options to make it in the big city. Keegan Farrell, a Voice Season 20 contestant, noticed her on social media when her original EP reached number 9 on the iTunes chart, prompting him to work with her to continue building a portfolio of original music. Their first song together, titled Childhood, garnered a massive amount of attention and has the most streams to date. When Julia isn't singing, she's playing softball with her travel team. She's extremely competitive and was even an Olympic downhill ski racing hopeful before deciding to focus on her music. Today, she joins me in studio right here at iHeart headquarters in New York City, chatting being 13, music, career, and what it's like being a contestant on season 24 of The Voice. Welcoming now to the show is the incredibly talented Julia Room. Welcome, superstar.
Hi, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you in studio. You're like my little baby. I've watched you grow. I've seen you flourish. This is such exciting times. So when I was not an iHeartRadio personality and you were not on The Voice, you were just barely 9 years old. I remember meeting you. We met in New York City when my former partner and friend Melanie and I had started the kids establishment. You were one of our first kiddos. And we coached and media trained you, but you were always performing and you were at it from a very young age. So what inspired you to want to pursue singing and acting?
I always knew ever since I was little I loved singing and I loved acting. It was just the matter of fact of getting me there and knowing how to start. So you were just like a big help in my career. And from there on, I just kept going at it. And I don't like to look at my failure. I don't like to give up. So I just kept going at it. And here I am today, and I'm super grateful.
You're here today because you put in the hours, you put in the work, you are determined, you persevere, and you excel. Now, Gwen Stefani and Niall Horan both turned their chairs for you. Wow. You're the youngest competitor on the season of The Voice. How does it feel to be part of such a prestigious competition at such a young age? And how did you get on The Voice?
It's insane to think about it. I mean, I just went on a random casting calling of The Voice, and I was just like, oh, let's try it out. And when I first auditioned, I was 12, so I couldn't even really legally be on the show. And then we found out later on after these callbacks that I was going to make the cutoff by a week. So I made the cutoff for the age, and then for Gwen and Niall to turn, it was just insane. I can't even wrap my head around it. And I'm just so grateful that I got to be here, especially since I'm so young. You know, I look at people's ages and I realize, wow, like I still have a whole new life ahead of me. This is really just the beginning for me.
The world is your oyster, my dear, and you are truly making it happen and paving the way for yourself quite nicely. Now, how did you select your audition song? I'd love to hear about that because even Melissa wants to know about that one. And can you tell us about your experience working with Niall as your coach on The Voice?
So how I picked my audition song is I kind of just like thought of a list of songs that I really loved, and I just kind of ranked them. And, you know, that song I just felt myself kept gravitating towards. I've seen it done really good on the show before. It's been a good chair turn pleaser. So I thought that was a good safe blanket for me. And this song has a really good story for a 13-year-old. And I just felt like
tell us
great.
The name of the song and the original EP and where it came from, because people who have not seen your audition tape are dying to know.
Yes. So this song is called Dream a Little Dream of Me by Mamas and the Papas. It was originally performed by Cass Elliot. And I've just always loved their band. I always loved Cass Elliot. So I just found myself gravitating towards the song.
You're an old soul, kiddo. Now, can you tell me what it's like working with Niall?
Niall is amazing. Working with Niall is just something I wish I could do all the time. He's super sweet. He's very involved with his team for sure. And I think that's something that I really wanted going into this. And he's just a great pick, and I'm really glad that I picked him because I could not ask for a better coach.
Okay, let's talk about that. You picked him over Gwen. Now, every girl's dream would probably be to be picked by Gwen Stefani, yet you went with Niall Horan.
Yes.
Why?
There's so much that they don't show on TV. So in the moment, I just found myself gravitating towards him. I think, well, I know, young girls, they love Gwen Stefani, so I wasn't sure if I was really going to stick out on that team. I also know, like, Niall's, like, kind of in right now, so I was hoping his fan base would like me, which is happening, which I'm super grateful. And overall, I just felt like he was fighting for me a little bit harder, so I was just...
She gave you a great big hug. What are you talking about? She came out there and she gave you so much love.
She gave me so much love. I think there was also more of that factor of Niall was more of like an artist feel, while Gwen was more of the motherly feel, which either would have been fine.
You said it all. You didn't want mommy holding your hand. You wanted an artist to artist experience.
Yes,
well, I get it,
sure.
Julia. I get it. Now, well, that speaks volumes. That's a great explanation. Now,
Yes.
how many times have you heard the words no and you didn't get the part? And how did you rise to the occasion?
Well, being in this industry, you go out for a bunch of auditions, and if it's just acting, commercials, or singing gigs, they either say no to you or you just don't hear from them ever again. So going into those things, I would always do my best and try out, but you never really know what's going to happen. So going into The Voice, I did not expect anything, but coming out of it, it's just been a great opportunity. And I just rose to occasion because I realized I'm not getting those, gigs or acting things for a reason, because there's something that I'm missing. And I would just work at my craft and work at that.
You're so humble. Now, you play sports and have a pretty disciplined schedule. At least I knew that you had a very disciplined schedule. It may have changed since then. But what is your favorite sport, and are you still competing?
I'm no longer competing in sports right now, but I would say my favorite sport would probably be softball. It's just a great sport. You connect with your team. You cheer all the time. There's a lot of cheers, which I love doing singing. And overall, it's just really that cool high energy. It's kind of one man for itself, but together you're all a team.
I love your answers.
Thank you.
It's like your wise words by Julia Room.
That should be a new podcast.
Exactly. Now, you have a background in both off-Broadway and regional plays. How has your experience in theater influenced your approach to music and performing?
My experience in theater has just helped me in so many ways, especially when performing. So they didn't air this, but the coaches say, like, I have this really cool Broadway theater tone. And I thought that was so special because only a few people have that, only a handful of people have that. And I've always been working with theater. It's always helped me with my stage presence, showing who I really am. And that's just something that I got to show on The Voice, and I'm just grateful for it.
You remind me of a young Lorna Courtney. Lorna Courtney is currently the lead in & Juliet on Broadway's Shakespeare's iteration of & Juliet. And she was in my class way before she got a Broadway placement contract. And I remember looking at her, and she graduated from LaGuardia and she went to Michigan. Incredible, incredible talent. And I looked at her and I said, Lorna, I'm going to see you on Broadway. And this year she opened & Juliet. And you remind me of her, but I found many of you. I'm feeling like there's a career path for me and just magically finding stars. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Now being based in New York City provides so many opportunities. How has the city shaped your musical journey and style?
The city has helped me in many ways because, you go out for your birthday and you want to watch a Broadway show. So I've got to see a lot of people just show who they am, and that I use their characteristics and artistry into me. And then also just the city, you get that exposure of everything, especially like here, the iHeart Radio. So just everything. And I'm really grateful to have been grown up here.
Well, you also know some really cool people, Julia. I mean, it's not everybody that can just walk into iHeart headquarters and just have an interview at WOR, but you, my darling, are my little star. So,
Yes.
I'm always going to keep you close. Now, Keegan Farrell is a fellow contestant from The Voice season 20. Now we're on season 24. So he noticed you on social media. See the power of that. Can you share more about how your collaboration with Keegan came about, and what was it like working together on Childhood?
So we first started, I was getting a following on Instagram because people were starting to notice me. And he kind of reached out to me, say, hey, like, I really like your stuff. At the time, he didn't know how young I was because he's never worked with a young artist. And I think I was 12 when we did Childhood. And this was a song I just loved. I wrote it so easily. I think sometimes I mean, musicians and songwriters know when this happens. When you just write and you just can't stop writing because you just have a feeling so strong. This was my feeling for childhood. And I sent it to him. He loved it. And overall, I met up in Nashville. We collaborated on it. And it's been one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And then after that, I went on The Voice, and we can connect with that as well.
All about connecting the dots and manifesting and making sure that you agree with the universe, right? You don't fight the universe. You go where there is no path. You leave a trail, and you trust the process. Now, your childhood has been a massive hit with lots of people listening to it. What inspired the song, and what does it mean to you?
What inspired the song is, growing up as a 13-year-old girl or a teenage girl, there's always going to be certain body types that people, gravitate towards or people like. And sometimes I feel like I'm not like that, or, certain personalities that people like. Sometimes I think everybody feels different. So I think this was a song to me that I was so passionate about that I just had to write a story about it. And now being able to perform it everywhere, people have realized this is a story that they connect to as well. And it's been a great journey so far. I hope that it goes more because I love this song.
Well, you are very talented, and I think the messages that you're sending out to the world and children your age or even adults listening to you, it's inspirational, if anything, but it's also extremely melodical. You have a very, very, very unique voice. Now, balancing school and music career can be extremely challenging. How do you manage your time and stay focused on your musical aspirations?
How I manage my time with schoolwork is I, set a time. I just sit down. It's quiet space, and I'll probably have my headphones in to listen to music.
But you are homeschooled.
I am homeschooled, yes. And I just sit down and do my work for a good 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, how much I can get done. It's more about like the assignments that I have to get done. And then after that, I'm free to do what I love to do and just write more music, go out to gigs, and just kind of have more open space.
Seems like you have it all planned out. Seems like you have a clear path. Now, what are your long-term goals in the music industry?
My long-term goals are just for people to love who I am and like what I do. I would love to get like Taylor Swift famous one day, but as long as I'm making people happy and making people feel like they have a spot in this world, that's what I'm really here for, and that's what I really want people to love about me.
Well, they already love that about you. Okay, you have less than 30 seconds.
Okay.
What advice do you have to other aspiring young musicians?
What advice I have for any aspiring musicians is I would just say, go out and do it, give it your all, and just really appreciate what you're doing, because this is hard work, and I would love for everybody just be proud of what they do. And no matter what you do, just feel the love of everything.
Oh, you are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
That was the incredible Julia Room. You definitely have to check her out on the gram at Julia Room. Talk about gifted and talented. Now, when we talk about gifted and talented, intellectual and physical characteristics of young gifted children that parents are likely to notice include unusual early and fluent speech, early mobility, early reading, unusually retentive memory, intense curiosity, unusual long attention span, eager desire to learn, unusually mature sense of humor, and less need for sleep than age peers of their actual abilities. Now, not all gifted children display all these characteristics, but the possession of a cluster of the characteristics could suggest that your child may indeed be unusually bright. And I can tell you that Julia possesses probably all of those characteristics. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Certainly do check her out at juliaroomsings.com. We'll be right back after this.
'Cause I was hurt when I was told, fix your weight. And I think I knew that I didn't look the same from all the other girls that are my age. 'Cause then I'll stop beating, and then I won't feel feeling. So put on a tight dress so I could look like her. Then I look in the mirror, I'll think that I look good. Then I go on my
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, we're joined by our returning contributor, beauty expert, and industry trailblazer, Lana Kerr, CEO and founder of CO2 Lift and Lumisk Skincare. Now, in light of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, today we have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Sylvia Rodenberg, a cosmetic and reconstructive plastic surgeon based out of South Miami, Florida. She's certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery and a world leader in her field. She believes plastic surgery is both a science and an art, and her passions for aesthetics is demonstrated through her aesthetic eye, followed by a wealth of scientific know-how. Her procedures include body contouring after massive weight loss, fat transfer to the breast and buttocks, tummy tucks, liposuction, and breast augmentation. Now, October, as we all know, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and with World Menopause Day having just passed on October 18th, it's important to keep educating people. Now, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime, and each of these women is more than a statistic. She's a mother, a daughter, a grandmother, and a friend. We need to raise awareness about the steps to detect breast cancer early. So if you have a family history of breast cancer, consider asking your doctor about tests for inherited changes, such as mutations to certain genes, such as BRCA1 and BRCA2, which increases risks for breast and ovarian cancer. And according to the CDC, besides skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common cancer among U.S. women and New York women. In New York State, nearly 17,000 new cases and 2,500 deaths from breast cancer are recorded each year. Risk of breast cancer increases with age, of course, and varies across racial groups. We know that Black females are more likely to have breast cancer diagnosed at an advanced stage and die from the disease. Most breast cancers are found in females who are typically over 48, but breast cancer is now also affecting much younger women. Here to chat breast cancer awareness, prevention, women's health are my experts at hand. Welcoming now the amazing guests, Dr. Sylvia Rodenberg and founder of CO2 Lift, Lana Kerr. Welcome to the show, my superstars.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's good to be here again. And good to see you, Dr. Rodenberg.
Good to see you, Lana. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Of course.
All right, let's get started, ladies. So Dr. Rodenberg, let's start with you. Do you have any notable breast cancer survivor stories from your patients that you can share with us today?
Yeah, I've dealt with breast cancer patients for a long time in my career. And, I feel like the incidence of breast cancer is staying the same, 1 in 8 women, but it's very important early detection, as you said. And we're seeing a lot of younger patients in their mid-20s, 30s, 40s with breast cancer. And it's sad, but it's the reality. But I think it's important for even those women, as you said before, with a history, family history, do genetic testings, because nowadays we're a lot more proactive trying to detect the breast cancer earlier. So early detection is very, very important for women, especially with a strong family history. But I think that every single woman that goes through breast cancer has their own journey, and they do have, each one of them have a different story. And but the most important thing, those are very strong resilient women that they're fighters. They're true fighters, and they're there, and they have their family. You know, a lot of them, they have to quit their job throughout the whole process while they're doing chemotherapy, radiation, and it's very hard for them. But they need the family support, and they need to stay, especially with their mental health, very, very strong.
I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting, there's a statistic that came out, and of those who reported not having received a mammogram within the past 2 years, 95%, okay, that's an estimated 500,000 women were insured. And 90%, that's another estimated close to 590,000 females, had regular healthcare providers, representing missed opportunities for screening. So, to your point, detection, detection, detection. It's also important to note that there are different symptoms of breast cancer, right? Some people have no symptoms at all, especially in the early stages. So, any changes in the size or the shape of the breast, or pain in the area of the breast, nipple discharge, right? These are the things that we always say to advise to go seek, an opinion from your doctor. All noteworthy and must be communicated to your doctor. Now, Dr. Rottenberg, I have another question for you. Some patients report cancer-related cognitive impairment, what they call CRCI, after breast cancer treatment, and symptoms can persist for years. So people with CRCI experience memory problems, difficulty making decisions, trouble planning and performing tasks. What are some of the challenges reported by your patients after they have survived breast cancer?
It's a tricky question because you see some patients after they undergo chemotherapy, and a lot of times even with estrogen blockers medications, they can have some cognitive impairment. And for some patients it's a short term process. For other patients, they feel it's more of a long term. They feel like sometimes after chemotherapy, their memory is never the same. They have that brain fog. But I always tell them, you have to work it out with your own brain and your memory. Trying to do exercises, trying to be very active. Exercise is the number one thing that patients need to do. Even if you're going through chemotherapy, radiation, you should dedicate about half an hour of your time during the day to do some sort of exercise, because that's what's going to increase your circulation, your blood flow. Your brain will be more active, more vascularized. You will detox your whole system. You will remove all those bad toxins from your system. You need to sweat, and that also impacts your cognitive function. So it's not just the chemotherapy gave me brain fog, gave me memory loss. I mean, I'm having a hard time. I have to write down everything that I need to do during the day. I have sticky notes everywhere in my house. And I tell them, yes, I understand you. The sticky notes are going to be there, but you have to work out your brain. You have to exercise. You have to sweat. And that's what's going to keep you alive.
Those are such important things to consider. And that's a great piece of advice, because everybody forgets that's where it all starts. Your brain is controlling everything. It's all up there. So thank you for bringing that to light. Now, Lana, skin puckering or dimpling can often result, interestingly enough, from scar tissue forming in the breast, whether due to previous surgery, infection, or even obesity. However, a specific type of dimpling known as peau d'orange is important to recognize, as it's associated with inflammatory breast cancer, and the skin over the breast will resemble an orange peel due to cancer cells blocking the lymph vessels in the skin over the breast. Lana, what have you heard from your customers who have survived cancer, and what fix can CO2 Lift Pro offer?
So great. And I love this topic. And, just to speak to what we had talked about earlier, I've spoken to so many customers. One particular one that stands out, she's actually an oculoplastic surgeon who found out she had breast cancer even after she has regular mammograms, was clear, and it was just doing in the shower of that same year, she found a lump. She went to the hospital where she works, and she just said, let me just check it out. but she has regular mammograms to come to find out she was in stage 3 breast cancer, which was interesting. But one of the things she used in terms of her breast tissue was a CO2 lift. On her radiated tissue, she used it because it calmed that down. So that was one of the things she used. In fact, even which was interesting because I did a live with her during the process, when she lost her hair, she used the CO2 lift on her scalp, which she attributed her hair growth to using the CO2 lift. Because again, just to Dr. Rodenberg's point, blood flow is important. And one of the things when you use CO2 lift is you're increasing blood flow to the area. So the breast tissue, on the hair, and then of course, the dryness that you can experience in the vulvovaginal region. And we have so many stories of women who, survive breast cancer, but then what about their intimate life? And this is where the CO2 lift V comes in.
I love the CO2 Lift V. I've tried it myself, but I love carboxytherapy in general. It has so many proprietary uses. I mean, non-invasive procedure, that's the biggest selling point for me. But when you involve the therapeutic use of carbon dioxide for skin rejuvenation, now we're going into a whole different conversation, because I know for a fact I've started to see some great results, because when you think of it from a scientific perspective, when infused into the skin, CO2 immediately, like instantly diffuses at the cutaneous and muscular microcirculatory levels. And this results in so much higher tissue oxygenation and neoangiogenesis. I repeat this all the time. There's science behind it. The blood vessels widen. It increases transport of oxygen, body tissues for regular regeneration and anti-inflammatory effects. And this has actually been around since the 1930s. Of course, the method of delivery has improved since then with this new gel delivery system called CO2 Lift. So I'm going to ask Dr. Rodenberg, with so much breast talk and CO2 Lift Pro and CO2 Lift V, what are you offering your breast cancer survivor patients to help them heal, not mentally, because we talked about the brain effects, but physically, doctor?
I'm very happy that I was introduced to Lana about a year ago. And I feel that the CO2 lift in my practice has changed the way I talk to patients and I try to help them out. It's very important, especially for breast cancer patients and postmenopausal women in general also. The CO2, especially the V-lift, the vaginal women, they have a lot of vaginal dryness, urogenital problems. They start having, feel like they have the burning sensation to urinate. They have a lot of urinary tract infections because of the dryness. It's all because of the lack of estrogen. And with the CO2 V-lift, that has helped them not have that discomfort constantly or on a daily basis. And the good thing about this product is that I tell them, I said, you can use it every day if you have 45 minutes, and that will help you. And they're very, very happy because there are a lot of products out there for vaginal dryness for women. But I feel this is the one that will give you the longer lasting result. Because
you said it.
Like you said, carboxytherapy, it's very effective. The problem is you need a needle, you have to inject subcutaneous and it's painful. So patients don't do it. But with the mask, and research has shown that there's absorption in the dermis and in the early musculature of the carboxytherapy. So that is what it changes the physiology of all the systems. It changes the connective tissue, and it helps you restore the physiology of all the systems. And I think that for the vulva and the vagina, it's the best product out there by far.
Boy, you've done your research. Estrogen. You know your stuff, doctor. I'm coming to you. Now, of course, CO2 Lift Pro as a medical monotherapy is very, very effective because it's great for severely dry skin, itchy skin, and for the speedy healing of wounds because of that increased blood flow. So I'm glad you brought that out. Now, we have about a minute left, and we know that it was Menopause Awareness Day, October 18th, just a few days ago. What are some of the things, Lana, that you're doing to relieve symptoms of menopause at CO2 Lift?
Well, just to what Dr. Rottenberg said, I use it myself. As a woman in menopause, I've been using the CO2 Lift V. Once I did the 10 treatments, then I just maintain it with monthly treatment. And what that has helped me with is when you go through menopause, you're going to experience decreased pleasure during sexual intercourse, maybe even decreased desire because of just decrease in your hormones. This, I feel, it has helped me just by increasing blood flow. It brought me back to that mind-body connection, more the thicker tissue. So sexual intercourse is more pleasurable, and just the awareness of what's happening down there, the confidence that I feel has helped me during this period of time, that I see menopause as just a great beginning to another section of my life.
I love your transparency. Dr. Rottenberg, what advice do you have to your patients who are going through menopause right now?
I have to agree 100% with Lana, because I'm also postmenopausal, and I use this as a treatment for myself, and I love it. And
okay. Since we're all being honest now, I'm not in menopause, but I have used the V for vaginal dryness because I underwent radiation therapy for thyroid disease, and the radiation really affected me. I mean, I'm not in menopause state, but the V helped me a lot, and it actually rejuvenated everything up there. I was like, wow, it looks different today.
No, yes, it even helps with a little bit of tightness. Intercourse is more pleasurable. It's a lot more fun because you're more sensitive.
Yes,
because it brings all that blood supply, the vascularization, so you feel like new.
Well, I think we stumbled on a gold mine here. Thank you, ladies. We are officially out of time. Thank you for your honesty, your transparency. Dr. Rottenberg, thank you for great pieces of advice and really just doing your research and being a leader in your field. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Lana, you know how I feel about you.
I do. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift. That was returning contributor, beauty expert, and industry trailblazer Lana Kerr, founder and CEO of Lumisk Skincare, home of CO2 Lift. That was the incredible Dr. Sylvia Rottenberg, a cosmetic and reconstructive plastic surgeon based out of South Florida, Miami. You could head directly to rottenbergmd.com, or you can check her out on the gram at Sylvia Rottenberg MD. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to co2lift.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or, of course, you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also, remember, we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. That's free programming to you. You could just head directly to our channel, mox.yourhometv.com. No downloads necessary. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.